Hello, we're going to go through a basic, what I call a phase 1 workout. It's a 2-day strength training program. It's set up to be 6 weeks in duration, and you would do each workout once a week for 2 days a week. Of course, you could do it more often per week if you wanted to. You would just get through the program faster. Now, the workout card is set up as such, so this is day 1. There are essentially 4 blocks: a warm-up block, number 1 block, which has 3 exercises, a second block, which has 3 exercises, and a third block, 3 exercises. You go through the block completely, finish that block, then move on to the next block until you finish. The warm-up block is only asking you to do 1 set. The first block has 3 sets of the first exercise, 2 sets of the second. So you would do this in a circuit fashion. So exercise A, exercise B, exercise C, then repeat A, B, C, A for the 3rd time. Down here in block number 2, you're doing 3 exercises, 3 sets of each exercise. So you would do each exercise once, go back and do it twice, second time, and then go back through the 3rd time. There's no rest because it's set up for you to be able to move rapidly through the blocks. So they're non-competing exercises, so you should be able to go through, kind of as rapidly as possible, but of course you would rest as needed. Over here, all of these open blanks are for you to document what you're doing. So in workout 1, if you finish the 5-minute steady state, you would just put a check mark when you finish it, and then you would kind of do that across the page as you go through the different workouts. In the traditional exercises, if you're using a dumbbell for the Goblet Squat, for example, you could write that you're doing 15-pound dumbbell, 12 reps, 15, 12, etc. So you could document the weight you used and then how many reps you got per set. Okay, so for the warm-up, this is pretty consistent across both days. I have it, the first thing you're going to do is a 5-minute steady state warm-up. So you could do a treadmill, walk, jog, ride a bike. Doesn't really matter. The key is you're going to elevate your heart rate, elevate your breathing rate, and elevate your body temperature. By doing that, you're going to prepare yourself to do the workout. Okay. The second thing in the warm-up is says skips, side shuffle, arm circles. 1 set of 15 each. So skipping is exactly what it sounds like. You can either do it in place or you can do it across the room. So you're just going to bounce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. 15 on each side, 30 total. The side shuffle, you're going to sort of have to move when you do this one, but you're going to get in an athletic position, drop off the back foot, count out 15 steps one way, drop back 15 steps the other way. If you can't move, if you don't have distance, you could just basically go back and forth in place. Same idea. And then lastly, on day 1, it's arm circles. So you're going to have your palms up in the air, 15 circles forward, 15 circles backward. Now moving into the first block, the first thing that is listed is a range of motion exercise, body weight squat with your heels elevated. So if you have a weight plate, you can set this on the ground like such. You might even use 2. 1 for each foot. You're going to stay with your heels on the plates, toes on the floor. This is just going to help get your squat pattern programmed in for the workout. And you're just going to go down to a body weight squat, trying to get your thighs parallel to the ground when you go down. Keep your head up, chest up nice and tall. Make sure your knees are pushing out on the way down and on the way up. You never want your knees to cave in. That is set up for 10 repetitions. Second exercise, 1B, is a corrective exercise, hip flexor stretch. So you're going to get in a half kneeling position. This is a pad. You can use whatever type of pad that you want, or maybe you don't need a pad. Half kneeling position, whatever knee is down, you're going to raise that arm up, and you're just going to lightly pulse yourself forward, trying to stretch the hip flexor on the right side in this case. And I have it set up to do 6 reps on each side. It helps a little bit more if you, while you're pulsing forward, lean the opposite direction slightly and you'll really feel a stretch on that side. So 6 on one side, 6 on the other side. Same thing there. And then lastly, the T-spine rotation. So in this one, you're going to lay on the floor, cross one leg over your body, right angles in the knee and the hip. Other arms, the arms are both out in front of you. Then you're going to rotate out. Try to take this hand all the way to the floor while keeping this knee down. Hold that for a second. Come on back. out, back. If that is too intense, you could take something like a foam roller, put your leg on that, same thing. This just decreases the range of motion slightly. That one is set up as 6 on each side. So we would do that for the number of reps. Each of the circuit you're going to go through 2 times with 3 sets of the squat. Second block is Goblet Squat. So you're going to grab a dumbbell if you have one, and you're going to hold it long ways like so. Same squat technique that you did prior, but now you're not going to have your heels elevated, but you're going to go down, slightly below parallel, keeping your head and chest up nice and tall. Drop the knees out on the way down, squeeze your glutes at the top. And that is set up for 12 repetitions. Next one is a vertical band pull. So you need some sort of an exercise band. You're going to anchor to something solid. If you have a pole in your basement, that would work. I'm going to anchor it to the treadmill because it's nice and heavy. So for this one, we're going to bend over so our torso is parallel to the floor. Hips up nice and high, head low. Just going to pull for the number of reps on one arm. Stand up tall, reset, bend at the hips, hips high, head low, and number of reps on this arm. Okay? And then the last exercise in that block is a corrective exercise, which is the plank. So there's 2 ways you could do this. You can do the push-up plank or the high plank, which is basically just getting in this position. Hands right under the shoulders, feet together, glutes nice and tight, core nice and tight. Or the elbow plank. Either one is suitable. I personally find it easier to have better form in the push-up position. So that finishes the second block. The third, that's 3 sets of each, of course. Third block for this day, last block for this day, dumbbell bench press is the first exercise. So basically, we're just going to grab 2 dumbbells if you have them, lay on the floor or on a bench. Start with both high, come down slowly, move up explosively but under control for the prescribed number of reps. If you have to lay on the floor for this, make sure your hips and knees are bent. Try to press your low back flat to the floor. Next, the 3B is the single leg hip bridge. So we're going to lay on our back. One leg straight up in the air. Then we're going to elevate our hips through the opposite heel. Back down. Touch the low back to the floor. Up as high as you can. Back down. Reps on one side and reps on the other side. And the last exercise of this day is the squat hold. So, similar position that we've done multiple times today. This time we're just going to go down until our thighs are roughly parallel to the ground. We're going to hold this position, making sure your knees are out. Chest is high, head is high, hips are low, and you're going to count for 20 seconds, at least for the first workout. Okay? So that's the end of day 1. Now we're going to run through day 2 quickly. Quickly. The warm-up is very similar. It has arm hugs instead of arm circles. Arm hugs just look like this hug. Alternate which arm is up on top every rep. But again, that's going to be 15 on each. For our first block, exercise 1A is a walking lunge. So if you have some distance, you're just going to make sure you step out far enough that when you're down, you have a right angle in hips and knees. Keep your chest up nice and high. You can do down and back. If you don't have space, you can just do that in place, obviously. Exercise 1B is the hip adductor mobilization. So, quadruped position, hands and knees on the floor. Hands right under the hips, knees under the shoulders. Sorry, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Right angles in all of your major joints. And you're going to pop one leg out to the side, like so. And then you're just going to drive your hips straight back. Exhale. Return to reset position. When you push back, you should get a stretch in the inner thigh on the leg that is straight. Just ease into the range of motion. Try to get a little bit farther back every rep. And then 1C is a wall slide, arm wall slide. So there's 2 ways you can do this. If you don't have wall space, which we don't really have great wall space here, I'm going to show you back here though. Just get your torso up against the wall, squat down slightly, and you're just gonna keep your hands, elbows, and upper back against the wall. You're gonna slide up as high as you can, and then drive down as low as you can, but keep your forearms parallel to each other. You don't wanna come together like this. You wanna go straight up, keeping the parallel position between your lower arm, okay? If you can't do that on a wall, you can do it on the floor, same exact way. All right, second block, exercise 2A is the sumo squat. So similar thing that we did earlier, but instead of having the dumbbell high, we're gonna have the dumbbell low, like this. We're gonna imagine there's an invisible line between the arches of your feet. You're gonna touch the dumbbell to that line every time, and that's gonna basically force you to push your hips back as you go down. Stand up nice and tall. Make sure your chest is up, head in, head up, eyes up. Exercise 2B, half kneeling single arm overhead press. So again, you might need a knee pad, get a dumbbell. Whatever knee is down, that's the side you're pressing with. So you want to check your right angle here, here, back knee, and we're just going to press straight up. Squeeze this glute tight to give yourself some stability. Repetitions on that side. When you switch sides, you'll switch your legs around as well. Straight up and down, again like so. Okay. Exercise 2C then is a chest stretch. So here you just done a door frame is ideal. Hand right at shoulder level, maybe a little higher. You're just gonna sort of twist away, relax. As you're twisting away, exhale, relax. So that's your repetition. I think I have it set for 5 on each side. And then the last block, 3A, standing single arm band pull. So this is very similar to what we did before, but this time we're gonna stand up tall and pull towards our chest like this. Again, reps on each side. Make sure you're in an athletic stance. That'll help give you some stability. If it's too easy, just back a little farther away. 3B, split squat. So you're gonna stagger your feet apart pretty far front to back. Make sure they're spread hip width apart. So I'm not gonna walk a tightrope. I'm gonna have hip width, step back, and then I'm just gonna drop my hips straight down. At the bottom, I should have a right angle on both knees. Push right back up, just down, up, down. If you wanna load this with a medicine ball or a dumbbell, that is appropriate, okay? Make sure you get the full range of motion. Lastly, then we have the dying bug, okay? So we're gonna lay on our back, arms up in the air, hips and knees flexed. You're gonna straighten out one arm and the opposite leg while trying to keep your abs nice and tight. So back up, then opposite. Switch, alternate arms and legs every repetition. The goal is to go nice and slow on the way down especially, and maintain core stiffness the entire time. Try to imagine keeping your low back in contact with the floor throughout that entire range of motion, okay? I believe that is it. I do have a legend at the bottom of the workout pages that shows you what some of my abbreviations mean. If you have any questions, let me know. Good luck.